So the topic of today's sermon is observe. For people who might know Greek mythology, you might know some of these stories. Once upon a time, there was a big party where all the Greek gods were invited. There were three of the most beautiful goddesses: Hera, the queen goddess, the wife of Zeus, the goddess of marriage. There was Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. Then there was Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare. They were all very beautiful gods. They've been alive for thousands of years. They've had hundreds of thousands of followers and temples, and they were well established in mythology. Well, it just so happened that a golden apple fell into the group, and on the apple said, "I belong to the most beautiful." Well, all three goddesses said, "That is mine." So they all fought over it, and it became a really big deal. Well, they decided to have someone help decide, well, who's the most beautiful? Who's the fairest of them all? So who else would they ask other than the most powerful and wisest of gods? Zeus. Zeus was Hera's husband, was Athena's father, but also a cousin to Aphrodite. Well, all three ladies went to Zeus and said, "Zeus, you are the oldest, you are the most powerful, you are the wisest. You need to decide which one of us three is the most beautiful of all." Zeus thought about it. And he thought about it. And then he says, "I can't answer this." And his reasoning was, how can you answer against your wife? You can't. How can you answer against your daughter? You can't. And if he were to say the young hot girl is the prettiest, then the other two would probably kick his butt. And so Zeus decided, you know what? There's really no good way out of this. So he says, I'm not going to answer. Let someone else answer. So the three goddesses were sent to go see this young shepherd boy who was a prince. His name was Paris. And they asked him, who is the most beautiful of all? He says, wow, I really can't decide. Like, you guys are all so beautiful. And then each one of them took the opportunity to go see him one by one. Hera said, if you choose me, I will make you one of the greatest kings of history. People will remember your name for ages. Paris smiled. Athena went up to Paris and said, hey, if you choose me, you will be the greatest warrior of all time. Every war that you fight, you will win. Paris smiled. Then the last goddess went up to Paris and said, if you choose me, you can pick the girl of your dreams and she will love you forever. So immediately Paris chose. I choose Aphrodite, the last goddess, as the most beautiful. Well, tragically, the story doesn't end there. Helen was already married to another man, a king of Greece. So when Paris went to get Helen, and Helen went with Paris, it was the start of the Trojan War. That lasted 10 years and hundreds of thousands of people died. And in the end, Paris didn't even have a chance to honeymoon with her. They were just in war immediately. Actually, the entire city of Troy fell and everyone died. Also on the Greek side, a lot of people died. And so it went down in history as one of the stupidest things, the stupidest decisions ever that cost so many people lives. When listening to this story, there's so many lessons that can be taken away from it. But one lesson that I want to point out for today is, why didn't Zeus answer? He's the most powerful. He's the wisest. Why didn't he answer? Because he knew that no matter what answer he gave, he would be screwed. There would be something bad that would happen if he answered this game. Now, why didn't Paris decide not to answer also? For him, the trade-off was worth it. He wanted the reward. He wanted the desire. He didn't think about what would happen if you took a queen from her king. If you stole the most beautiful girl in the world from her husband, what would happen? What would happen if three goddesses, all superly powerful with followers, and one of them likes you and the other two hates you? What do you think would happen to your life? So the moral that I wanted to point out, just one, is observe. The adults, the smarter people, the wise people, they make decisions for a reason. You know, they're older, they have a lot of experience, they've made a lot of mistakes. But younger people, and I don't mean just children, but anyone who thinks that they already know the answer, we tend to make decisions based on our desires. But older people or more mature people tend to make decisions based on the outcome. And so sometimes it might be wise for us to learn to observe the actions of our elders or the people who came before us, so that possibly we can avoid some problems. Had Paris only paid attention to Father Zeus, he probably wouldn't have ended up so screwed, neither would his family have. And so that's the moral I want to leave with us.